gone. Like I said, I talked. Last week's episode was really good. No Surrender was not good. I was really tough on No Surrender. So tough, in fact, some point, the TNA Twitter account blocked me. I, I don't know like what specifically it was that I said. I reached out to a friend of mine, and he was shocked that that had happened because I say some stuff, but I don't go like super personal or derogatory. I mean, like, there's been times where I've like told everybody they should be fired, but that's more hyperbole than anything. I clearly don't mean that. I think everybody knows that I don't think that the company shouldn't exist. I don't think like nobody believes that I think that everybody should be fired, right? It's more hyperbole, just me being on Twitter, just being a jerk. But at some point, the TNA Twitter account had blocked me, and so I screenshotted that and I put it out there. I was like, just in case, like, you guys think that I'm too nice to TNA, because there's a lot of people in, I would say, in the Voices of Wrestling community, and even in the fight game, and like just different people that I've met on Twitter that are like AEW fans or the WWE fans. Like, Mike, you always give TNA the benefit of the doubt. You're too nice. Like, even though I can be really mean sometimes, I can be tough on TNA. Everybody thinks that I'm like a homer, which is probably true. I own that. Because I'm a 49ers fan and I say mean crap about them all the time, but at the end of the day, I want them to succeed. I have a TNA podcast. I want TNA to win, right? Like, that's important to me. So, they blocked me, and then I screenshot it and I put it out there. And then I'm not gonna say who it was, but I got a nice message from somebody in the company, and they said that that was not the right thing to do, and they had me unblocked immediately, and then invited me to the Atlanta taping. So I will be. I'm not gonna be like VIP or anything. They just invited me to be a guest. So I was like, I would love to do that. That would be fun. I've never actually been to a TNA show, and I did not realize that Atlanta is only like, it's less than a 4-hour drive from where I'm at. For whatever reason in my head, I thought that was like 8 hours. I just like Atlanta just seems so far away to me. But they said, hey, if you ever want to come to a show sometime, I'll take care of you. And I was like, so yeah, if you're ever near Charlotte. And they go, well, we're actually in Atlanta in 2 weeks. And I was thinking, I was like, Atlanta's so far away, but then I actually did the map. I mapped it from my house, and it was like 3 hours and 45 minutes. I was like, oh, I could do that. Unfortunately, it's an overnight trip though, so I had to get spousal approval because she's got to be with the little kids all night by herself. So, and I just took a trip to California without the fam, so I had to get spousal approval. So it took like a day or two to get that approval. And but once I got it approved, I was like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna go to TNA, my first ever TNA show. And what I really need, and if anybody has a line on this, or if anybody like AWN, I think this is you on Twitter, the San Francisco guy on Twitter. Mahalo, my friend. If you or somebody could put up, like, on T Public or something like that, recreate the infamous AJ Styles splooge T-shirt and post a link to it, I'll buy it. I'll buy the damn thing. Somebody just post a link to it, and that way I can have it made. And if I can get it to me by Friday, that way I can drive down. I want to wear the AJ Styles splooge T-shirt. Like, that was my dream. I just forgot until tonight that I wanted to do that. So, but I could not find it anywhere to purchase. So I want to do that. So if anybody can have that, like, have it made and put it up on T Public or one of the other knockoff T-shirt sites. I use T Public, where I put I have a Brace for Impact store on there, so nobody buys anything, but I have a store. But yeah, if anybody could do that, I would appreciate it. That'd be great. I've always wanted. That's the ugliest goddamn shirt I've ever seen in my life, but I thought it would be hilarious to wear that. Now, before anybody asks, there and some people have asked. Actually, 4 people have asked me. They said, "Hey, are you going to wear your Carlos Silva hat to the TNA show?" And the answer is no. No. The only wrestling shirt I'll wear is the AJ Styles Splooge shirt, or my Joe Doring shirt. I'm probably gonna lean Joe Doring. I like that shirt. It's a nice shirt. But I also did recently buy a new Metallica shirt. So it's like a vintage and Justice for All t-shirt. So I might actually just wear that because I just think it looks nice. But we'll see. We'll see what the wardrobe is like. Or I could do a Under Armour polo. That could work. We'll see. We'll see. Let's get to the chat. Our man here, AWN, says good action and story progression tonight. Yeah, I thought so. I thought they progressed some stories, specifically with the Steve Macklin story is coming along, and we'll get to the recap. The Steve Macklin story is coming along, and the story between Ash and Mickey James, and then the Macklin and the Santana story. I don't know that I'm completely into the Hardys and the Righteous. I think I might be out on that one by now. I just feel like that's drug on a little bit. It's like it's like we already know that the Righteous are gonna turn on us. Like, let's just get to it, you know? But but yeah, Elijah looked amazing and Mustafa Ali bumped like a champ. Uh so we're talking about last week, and that's what I started the show off with. I I think Mustafa Ali is one of the best in the world. I really do. And Elijah's like, he's good. I don't think that he ever had the opportunity to have good matches in the WWE because he was doing the singing gimmick. So they didn't want him to have good matches. But I think like if he's in there with the right guy, he's capable of having a good match. Now there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in this match, and Mustafa Ali was doing his best Shawn Michaels impression, I would say, and that's not like a knock. He was Shawn Michaels in them. It was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. I think that's what they're going for. Elijah very clearly trying to do an Undertaker routine. He's the cowboy Undertaker. I think he needs to dial that back a little bit because it's so obvious. It's okay to steal from people, and do tribute stuff, but he came out in a casket and did the sit-up thing. He does the tombstone pile driver. He does the rope walks. And when he does his entrance, it's a guitar strum instead of a gong, and the lights go out. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, he's got to dial that back. Like, don't be so obvious. I am very much an advocate of stealing from the past, like borrowing it and adapting it and making it your own. And he's doing that to an extent, but it's too on the nose. He's got to reel in a little bit. But I did really like that match. I thought it was great. It was good television wrestling, right? Two really good characters. They had the whole casket gimmick as a whole production. I thought it was awesome. So now, when I was watching, this is kind of what pro wrestling is. Like, it's like and old. It's more old school, I would say. But I thought they did a fantastic job. R.I.P. to Pop Pops. Yeah, man. I love my grandpa. He was an old timer. He was up there. But yeah, Nick, it's good to be back. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you. AWN has a question. Wonder why they retired Lethal Lockdown as a concept, because they haven't done it proper in 10 years. I agree. They did do the god awful war games type match in El Paso back in, I think it was April or March or something like that, with that really terrible cage. They did that, and I was like, this is probably a good thing that they didn't have a top to that cage, because that cage was really bad. I would not have trusted the top to that cage. Then they had a nice cage when they returned to El Paso, and I thought they could have had a top to that. I think they just don't have the cage. I'm pretty sure that's why. They were going to have it in during the pandemic. I was telling the story on on Twitter, because I think it's this kid, Ringside Anthony. I think that's his name. He watches a lot of TNA now. I think he's going back and like learning about TNA, and he's doing a 2020. He's like into 2020 Impact Wrestling, and he's at the beginning of the year. Like, oh man, you're in for a spooky time, because in February they had an event called Outbreak. That was like, we knew about the pandemic, but we weren't there yet. Right. We didn't know what was about to happen, but we weren't exactly living in fear quite yet. So they had an event called Outbreak. It was with back then they were doing joint shows with local indies. And this was with OVW, I think, at the Davis Arena. And in March, they were scheduled to have Lockdown in Canada, in Windsor, with Border City Wrestling. And Border City had the cage. That was Scott D'Amore's cage, and they had a top to it. And I think they were going to do the whole thing. They were doing a lockdown show, so every match was going to be in the cage. They had Lethal Lockdown planned, and they had a poster. They had everything. They're getting ready to do it, and then the world goes on an actual lockdown. So they never got to it. And once the pandemic was over and they started going back to Canada, you would have thought that they would have had cage matches, but they did. They just ended up not having any cage matches. I don't know why, and they haven't gone back to it. And I think they need to go back to it. It was look lockdown as a pay per view. I think having more than one or two cage matches on a show is too much. So while the concept was fun at the time, it can get played out. Like by match 3, you're already kind of like not interested in the cage anymore. At least that's the knock. But there's been some amazing matches at Lockdown, like Kurt Angle and Mr. Anderson, Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, obviously. Then all the various Lethal Lockdown matches that they've had. I think if you do a Lockdown pay-per-view, or you just do like you could do Rebellion and do a Lethal Lockdown match, kind of like what they used to do in WCW, where it was like, and WWE does now with you have Survivor Series and War Games match at Survivor Series. Like, it doesn't have to be a pay-per-view of all War Games matches. You can do the Survivor Series plus a War Games match. Or back in the day, it was WCW. Yeah, they did War Games on a lot of different shows, but it became a fall brawl staple, there in the late 90s. But you could do something like it could be Rebellion featuring Lethal Lockdown, right? Like why couldn't you do that? Lethal, it's a fun concept. They had their own spin on it where like the top of the cage lowers and it's got all the weapons and stuff. Now they didn't always execute the matches very well at times because they overbooked the hell out of everything. But the concept I think is a good concept. So let's see. We give companies the benefit of the doubt. What else is new? I don't know what that's referring to, IO. But Mike getting involved in a storyline now. No, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Although if like, somebody wanted to get heat on old Mike, I'd be down with that. If somebody wanted to do that, I'd be okay. I can handle it. I can handle that for sure. Mike's about to get murked by Macklin. Yeah, if Macklin wanted to like, but again, like tonight he hit Tom Hannafin. That's a babyface move. If he punches me, like that's a babyface move to the TNA crowd. So, all right, Mood. I'm going to Sacrifice coming up, and it's about the same drive, doing it all in one trip. Yeah, yeah. I'm old. I'm 42. I won't be quite 43 yet. I am old. I am gonna do the trip. I'll take off. It's on a Friday. I'm not going down Thursday and Friday. I'm going down Friday. So I'll just be for the TV tapings. I'm going to drive it 4 hours away, and then I'm gonna go to bed immediately afterwards. It will be. I think the show's probably gonna be like 4 hours long. That's gonna be tough for old Mike. so, so like when people are like complaining about AEW shows being too long, I'm one of those guys because that's a lot of time to give my devoted attention. If you're not playing football or baseball, like it's hard to keep my attention for that long. But I will do my best. I'll try to be actively engaged. And if people are in Atlanta that are TNA fans and that watch the show, I'd love to meet you and hang out and do the chants and do the whole thing. I don't mind going in there and being a fucking mark. I'll do that. I don't care. Okay, Joel says nobody buys anything, but I have a store. It's basically every mall in America right now. You would think that they would have. Oh, you're talking about my store. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I think I'm one of the only people that has a Brace for Impact T-shirt. But I have the store. I did this whole thing where I was bringing back Affliction, and I made an Affliction Brace for Impact shirt. Nobody bought it, but let's see. Bummer. AJ is done. Didn't have a TNA match. Yeah, we'll get to him in a little bit. Canela Lake. Hello, Corporate Mike. You rocking the AJ Styles Jizz shirt with me fight? Yeah, I need that. I need the Jizz shirt. That's what I want. All right. You enjoyed their feud.